Hello, welcome to Direct Joy. Happy lunchtime. How you doing? Just going to give you a couple of minutes for all those people live to join us. Because I hope you will. It's been a couple of weeks since we did a Direct Joy. A couple of weeks since we went live. I had a bit of a break. I think my out of office is actually still on my WhatsApp. That's how much I needed a break. And they are really special, those times, aren't they? Taking a break. So welcome to Direct Joy. My name is Cherie Joy, and this is your free mental and emotional well-being update, basically. I started this a year ago. Yes, last March. So it's a year ago. Happy first birthday to Direct Joy. And this is a place really to offer any questions, some musings from me, from my mental and emotional well-being experience as a psychotherapeutic counsellor, as a psychologist, as a mum, as a partner, as everything that I am, who I am, my kind of unique divine view of the world, and just putting it out there really. So hello to everybody watching, and please give us some feedback if that's helpful, if this raises any questions or comments for you. So basically, Direct Joy is a conversation. It's me coming on, and any questions that come up in the field that I'm in across the week, across the fortnight, as it now seems to be, answering what I think and what comes to mind live. And it seems to be going down well. So we are looking to expand Direct Joy, actually. I've got my awesome small team of people behind me are working on expanding out Direct Joy. It will still say the same, but also a little bit of an expansion too, if you do want to hear more from me, but aren't really in the place either financially or in a place time-wise where you feel that you can engage in some kind of long-term therapy work or medium-term therapy work. We're going to have a portal where you'll be able to access a bit more and go a bit deeper. I hope that sounds like a good idea, and let me know if there's anything you'd like to see there, because all the cards are on the table, and that it would be great to hear from you. It's always great to hear from people, so stay in touch. I really like that. So today we're talking about communication and peace and relationships and how all this kind of jumbles together. And I was due to do this Direct Joy a few weeks ago, but actually it's really interesting because the whole of the Ukraine and Putin situation really has started speaking to me, obviously, and all of us, across the last week or so. And that's seeking for peace, that sense of how we communicate what we communicate, and how topsy-turvy that is. And actually, whilst I was preparing for this Direct Joy, obviously the Ukraine situation is changing all the time as we speak. You may even have the news on where you are now, and just it's big, right? It's pretty scary, and that brings up a lot for all of us. But we all live in our own topsy-turvy world all the time, don't we? There's a lot going on for us all of the time, and we have judgments about how we communicate, just as we have judgments about how NATO are communicating with Putin, and how we have ideas about what we think and what we feel and what's going on, both on a political, national, international scale, and also within our own families and within our own friendship groups, and in our own hearts as well, in our own how we do what we do and how we are who we are. So I'm hoping today, a bit of an adventure, but a bit of a venture as well, to tie those things in together, because I think it is, you can apply on the micro and the macro a lot of these ideas, because we all have a mental health, and we all have a collective mental health as well, and that might seem like a new idea to people. So let's go. in preparing for this Direct Joy, a song came up for me and I just kept singing it. You know, one of those earworms. I love that saying, an earworm. And it was, I'm not great at singing, so I won't sing it for you. But it's actually a kid's song, a Sunday school song, quite a new, relatively new one. I don't know who it's by. I've tried to look, so if anyone knows, let me know. But it's about the topsy-turvy, curly-whirly, upside-down, back-to-front kind of place that we live in. Where the weak are strong and the slow are fast, but everything is possible. And I love it. It's a really happy tune, but it's got a huge understanding of the fact that the world is a topsy-turvy, curly-whirly, upside-down, back-to-front kind of place. And then it has some promises about everything is possible, which is interesting because I talk about impossible is nothing. That's one of the things that Adidas say, but also I say. And yeah, what is it about the topsy-turvy, curly-whirly stuff? And how are the weak strong and the slow are fast? How does this make any sense? And how does this make any sense to the fact of mental health and communication? Especially when we say communication is key. Okay, so communication is key to what? How does this even work? Like, you know, how can we say communication is linked to any of this kind of rubbish that we're faced with, or any of this kind of, any of this palaver, and especially any of these wars, be they wars nationally and internationally, or be they wars internally, be they wars in our families, be they wars with our friendship groups or past friends or with our children. You know, what's actually going on when we talk about the fact that communication is key? Why is communication is key? What are we doing to make any sense of this? What are we saying, and how are we, what's our actual sense of being that we offer in this? So let's tie all this up a little bit to start with. We know that we can't live in solo. We don't live silo. We live, even though we may want to at times, we live where we have relationships, where actually we want to. We are born of parents, and even if we're adopted or fostered or even orphaned, you know, we have key relationships with key caregivers, and that is important to us to communicate our needs to others. It's important that we are heard, that we are respected, and we are known for who we are. And that is true of friendships. That is true of a partner. It is true of our children. It is true of future relationships that we seek to have. And it's true in when we think back to past relationships of, oh, how did that fall down? Or what happened there? Or what was my part to play? What was their part to play? And through this communication, we find that there are solid understandings of who we are as an individual. And even though we may have a topsy-turvy, curly-whirly, upside-down situation, the actual process of who we are is really important. It's really great to start understanding, what do I do when I communicate? Do I jump down someone's neck? Do I have an inquiring mind? Do I sit back? Am I interested? Am I different with that person than this person? What do I say? Am I a swearer? Am I a quiet person? Who am I in these interactions? And what do I bring to the table? And is it different if I've had a drink? Is it different if I've done particular substances? Is it different if I have had a certain amount of sleep? Is it different if my children are there? Is it different if my parents are there? Is it different if a certain friend is there? Is it different if I'm texting someone and I've got their support, even though I might be in the trickiest of scenarios? How we communicate and what we bring is so interesting to think about, how we are and who we are and what we do and how we perceive ourselves. And that can be really interesting because we can come to some conclusions and then we can start making some choices about what actually we are and we do bring to the table, and also some unknowns, some questions around that too, which is then even more interesting to have an inquiring mind about. And like I say, that does happen in all relationships. But interestingly, one of the things that we find we are constantly seeking is a peace. So if you speak to most people, they're not setting out to have a conversation to annoy people or to put the cat amongst the pigeons, or to even the people that play devil's advocate all the time. They're really seeking peace. There's this huge sense that the majority of people really have a kind heart and are seeking communications with people, actually either to have further understandings for themselves because they're in a topsy-turvy crazy place, or because they want to help the other person out. So how does this get so messed up? How does this get to a situation where we feel betrayed or lost or lonely or upset or misperceived, or is that a word, or kind of, how do we get to this place where actually it doesn't make a huge amount of sense and the communication is jarred or difficult or argumentative, or it leaves us sad, lonely, betrayed? And that brings me to how this Direct Joy actually originated. And someone came to me and they said, look, I've got this thing going on and I'm dealing with it. I'm cool. Yeah, I'm working through it in my own way. But every time I share it with friends or family or anyone, work colleagues, in whichever way, however I dress this up, I don't get much of a response. Now, this person was sharing something quite big about their health, and it can be, this example can be taken in different scenarios, which is why I'm not giving too much of the detail, because actually it applies to all of us. We can share something about, a financial topsy-turvy, debt or health problems or relationships problems or problems parenting or difficult decisions that we're making, and even sometimes good stuff. And sometimes we find that when we share it with people, it's like met with a non-response, met with a nothing. People actually say not a lot. And then our response accordingly is, oh, where did that friend go? Oh, where did that mum, dad, sibling go? Where's the response? And that hurts, right? But actually, we know they're not intentionally hurting us. All of these people are intentionally hurting us. Okay, no, I'd have to be a bit paranoid, right? Okay. How do I negotiate this one? It's topsy-turvy, okay? But actually, if we take a minute to think about this, what are we asking for? And when I say what are we asking for, we can also think about it from the flip side. As you know, I like the perspective change. What is it that person is expected to give? And what is it that we would give in that scenario? Because all of this stuff is a reflection of ourselves as well. And this is where we go a bit deeper. So let's start off with the first one. What is it that we're asking for? And what is it that we're expecting them to give? Now, it's a bit of a hack, but it's helpful, I think, as all hacks are. What happens if we think and take a moment, take that breath, the slower fast, right? The weaker strong. Take a breath and think, do they want comfort or do they want solution? Now, I've tried this out and it works pretty cool, yeah? Actually, if we think, as we know from previous Direct Joys, every demand is a demand for love. We remember that. When someone comes to us with something, or we go to someone with something, are we requesting comfort or solution? Now, if someone comes to me with a debt problem, I can't provide much solution. I haven't got millions of pounds or even thousands of pounds able to offer. The Ukraine situation, what can I do? Like, I know of some great people that have actually been going out to Ukraine in the last week and helping with the refugee situation. And actually, that's like, whoa, but how can I do that? I can't, even if I wanted to. But actually, my fear really, whoa, what can I do? Like, literally, my brain goes, I can open up my home to people? Not really, it's not big enough. What can I do? I can't provide a solution, but actually I can provide comfort. If I was in that situation, one of the things that I heard on the news last night was actually a lot of the people don't want to be classed as refugees. They don't want to go too far away. They want to stay close because they see that there will be a resolution and they want to go back to their homes. Hell yeah, I'd be like that too. So actually, what can we do? We can provide comfort. Someone came to me with a health issue. I'm not a doctor. I can help with mental health, but I can't bring broken bones. And so therefore, actually, what am I asking for? What can I give? And where is the comfort and where is the solution? And sometimes the solution is in the comfort. And it's a really cool thing to practice, especially with people that, you feel comfortable be able to take a moment. What we find in communication, especially where there's not a lot of peace, is that there's a response time, okay? And it's fast. And the slow isn't acknowledged. And actually, sometimes that's most of the time, not sometimes, most of the time, taking that time is just absolutely imperative to work out actually how can I help this person? Because otherwise we get left in the impasse, we get left in the stuck, we get left with the brick wall, and that is just rubbish for everybody because actually, that's when the loneliness comes, that's when the difficulties come. And that is harmful then to peace and communication. And we know communication is key. There are so many other examples. I'm conscious of time, but I just want to take a moment to think also about the fact of listening, the huge benefit we get from active listening. Excuse me. Active listening really gives us, it's the first thing that Freud talked about, right? It really gives us a sensation of reducing the hype. Excuse me. We get to reduce the hype when we are held in that way. We get to hear the messages of the body. And if you can provide space for someone to actively listen, just 5 minutes of just, you've got the floor. You've got the floor. We're turning the telly off. We're turning the music off. We're turning everything down. We're turning everything down a notch. It provides space. There was a thing on the radio this morning on the Zoe Ball show on Radio 2, and I'm not sure if it was the thought for today because I only caught the end of it, but the lady was talking about the fact that a great thinker said that all of the world's problems would be solved if we spent half an hour a day just being. And she said, I'm going to go out on a limb and I am going to say that I support that because actually, and Zoe started then going on about meditating and apps and it was like, no, not meditating, just being. And I like that. I love that idea of just being with myself, giving myself that communication to hear what's going on. When I contact my friends, when I speak to my partner, when I engage with my children, excuse me, what's coming up? What am I asking? What is going on inside of me that needs to seek out? Because everything is possible in this crazy, topsy-turvy world. Yes, it is. And we know that, we believe that, we have that hope. So how can we find that? How can we seek that when actually sometimes peace isn't raging, war is raging? Outside, inside, in communication. but actually what happens when we take time to reset. One of the other beautiful things that we find when we seek is actually the power of touch. Sometimes words can be too much. Sometimes people don't have words, and skin to skin communication, holding hands, heart to heart, having that literally can be such a lifesaver. Being able to have that communication through skin. There's a lot that I've read, and there's even more out there about the benefits of skin to skin communication, not just between baby and mum and dad and mum, but also between us all, to hug people. You know, it's one of the things that we lost in COVID very quickly, wasn't it? Was that communication, the handshake, the hug, the greeting, the kiss, you know. And actually, what would it be like to have more of that if we feel comfortable with it? What would that be like? And shaking. I love a bit of shaking. Taylor Swift style, shake it out, dancing. Yeah, Beyonce, that butt in the kitchen. Dance it out, shake it out. Because actually resetting our neuro pathways, resetting all of the vagus nerves, all of the, you know, bringing up the serotonin and the oxytocin, bring that on. That is really what we need to actually shake off the topsy-turviness internally and externally, and bringing about a place where we can then introduce that place of being to say, okay, what do I need, comfort or solution? What can I give, comfort or solution? What can I give cheerfully? And moving towards the slower pace to be the fastest, where the weak are strong and the slow are fast. So that's Direct Joy for today. Please do send me your questions. I must say they're getting more and more interesting and more aligned with the universe. So thank you for that. Yeah, I really appreciate all of your support. Thank you for catching the replays. Thank you for joining me live. Thank you for your comments and your support. It is the last year has been absolutely awesome doing Direct Joy. I really love it. It's such a challenge to me. And I get very passionate about it. So thank you. I'm eternally grateful for all of your support. Please share with your friends. Please like my webpage and YouTubes and all that jazz. You know the stuff, the social media. Just let people know. I do have, if you like the idea of going deeper, please get in contact with me, because I have a few slots, not many, but I do also have some really trusted colleagues, so I can find the right place for you. So get in touch, just take some time to be you, as much as you need, and maybe a little bit more. Okay, so thank you all for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you either next week, hopefully, if we've got a question, or the week after. So, and hopefully I'll have a bit more of an update on some future Direct Joy paths that we're taking. So stay tuned, and yes, peace and joy and even more peace. Let's spread the peace. Lots of love to you all.